Hi there, welcome to I Alone Play Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Gemini energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Gemini energy, some people harness a more worldly focused or a shadowy focused Gemini energy, and we all tap into Gemini energy. So, how do you harness your Gemini energy? Are you more aligned with your hopeful, believing, intuitive, loving nature, or are you more aligned with your worldly, fearful, prideful, immature nature? It's kind of like what drives the decisions that we make in life. And there's some people that don't want to do love. They get hurt doing love. And so some people have decided, I'm not doing it. I might get in relationships. I'll indulge myself in a relationship, but I'm not going to emotionally, really authentically invest myself in it. Some people's truth is they are more about themselves, or they're more about money and materialism, or status or image is more important to them. So listen to your intuition about how you harness your Gemini energy, what your truth is, and listen to your intuition about some other people in your life. So the overarching reason for the reading is new beginnings. Love that card. And underneath that is hidden motivations. Angel of the Four Directions, commitment, intuition and manifestation, loving man. What is the reason, Gemini is air sign energy of the mind, so new beginnings could be an Ace of Pentacles, an Ace of Swords, an Ace of Cups, an Ace of Wands. What drives us? What motivates us? What do we use to try to get people in a relationship with us? Interesting. So people are going to take action based on, I guess to a degree, we live in a world of duality. And the way I read tarot is that the masculine figures represent how we present ourselves in the world and the action that we take in the world, because when we take action in the world, it's considered masculine energy. But what's the truth? The feminine figures can talk about how we think and how we feel. Everybody wants a new beginning, but emotionally, why? What is it that drives and motivates people to act the way they act? It's because of what they want to manifest. And is it truth, love, justice, fairness, growing, healing, maturing? Or is it, I'm in my ego, I'm mad at someone, I want to cause them conflict, I'm competitive, I'm trying to compete in the world to look like I got it going on? What is the truth of why people are taking the action that they're taking? And why they're investing in what they could currently be investing in? So what's going on in Gemini energy? We have planning and action, the healing light, dark thoughts, happy success, kindred partnership. And the reason is because of the courage card, which is like the Sun card or the Six of Wands in tarot. Leo energy. Are we operating more from ego? Or are we tempering our fears and our insecurities to have hope and faith and belief in our dreams? Some people right now are taking action, planning an action card, kind of like the Eight of Wands card, inspired to offer love to themselves, to heal their worldly, egoic, fearful, codependent, don't love and believe in yourself nature, to heal. But you have to be inspired to even want to do that. And some people aren't. It takes time, energy, and effort. Some people just go look to other people. You're the answer. Some people look to drugs and alcohol to be the answer. Other people look to relationships. You're supposed to be the answer to my problems. Other people really have done the work within themselves. They learned how to offer love, compassion, and forgiveness to their own worldly nature, to free themselves from the things that manipulate them. They shed light on their own dark thoughts, their own fears, their own insecurities. We have kind of like our own inner child nature. We have our more fearful, insecure nature. We have our more hopeful, believing nature. Are we going to be inspired to love our more worldly, immature, fearful nature, to work through those fears and insecurities, to kind of get balance within ourselves, to get out of those fears and insecurities, to move forward aligned with our more loving nature? We can all keep investing and moving forward in our more defensive, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, all about me nature if we want. But I think some people who live their life like that, they're really sure it's going to work out the way they think, but pride comes before the fall. And some people just want a new beginning because they do have maybe these fears, these insecurities about if I'll be happy, if I'll be in a relationship, I'm in my ego, let me take the steering wheel, damn it. I'm going to go take this action to try to have a new beginning because I want to look victorious and successful. And then kind of just looking at other people like they're a pawn in their chess game. Other people have already been illuminated to the fact that some of these people are quite prideful, egotistical, fearful, insecure or something, or indulgent in some ways, like they like to be indulged in their ego. Some other people have already moved away from them because they were illuminated to the truth that these people could have some issues they need to deal with. And when they were probably in relationships with them, trying to move a relationship forward, the other people kind of in the healing light card. I also look at like the sun energy, which is also Leo energy. We just have this free will choice in our worldly, egoic human being nature. Am I going to make my life if I make my life about the world, that's the answer. If I have enough status, if I have enough image, if I get enough attention, if I have someone indulging me, that's it. That's how I want to do it. Or am I going to align with working through the fears and insecurities that stop me from aligning with like life-giving energy where I can grow and heal and mature myself to my full potential? The truth sets us free. Otherwise, we'll keep repeating an old pattern. But we've got to be willing to get to the truth. We need to be willing to shed light on the truth. Sometimes things can seem really scary and whatever, and we kind of don't want to deal with it. But if we bring it up into the light, then sometimes it's kind of making me think of, I used to watch Dr. Phil all the time. I don't even know if he's on regular TV anymore, but I haven't really watched him for like 10 years. But he used to say, to people, they'd, kind of get caught up in this storyline, and then it would like stop. And he's like, well, but what if you did? And it's like, well, it wouldn't work out or whatever. It's like, well, like if it could, like what would be the steps that you'd take and how do you imagine it would work out or something, But they never wanted to go to examine why it was that they kind of stopped and stayed here. It's like, bring it up into the light. What are these things that you think wouldn't make it work out, And instead of just saying, no, it wouldn't work out, well, we do have to deal with reality and the truth. What's keeping us stuck? Why aren't we moving towards the things that we think, do we not love and believe in ourselves? Or we kind of been operating more from our egoic nature instead of doing the work within ourselves? So we're not operating from our like egoic nature, like presenting an image in the world. And we really are authentically who we are? Are we going to keep living from the facade? Anyway, people want to have new beginnings. They just want to have new beginnings for different reasons. For some, it's for selfish, greedy, prideful reasons. I want to look successful. I just want to maybe be in a relationship to look like I'm successful. I just want to have that job because it makes me look really successful. Well, how great do people function in jobs and relationships when their end goal was for those reasons? It's not because it's a job I love. It's not because, wow, I'm really motivated and inspired by that job. No, I just want that job so I can tell everybody I got that job. Well, how are you going to do in the job? Oh, I really hadn't thought about that. I don't even know, and I might not be qualified. I just want to look like I got it. Well, and sometimes people do that in relationships too, you know? Some people would like to have new beginnings with loving, nurturing, supportive people. You know, they could just be afraid that maybe those people have moved on. Maybe those people don't view them that way. Maybe those people don't feel about them the way they feel about them. High vibe people are going to be strong because high vibe people don't operate from ego. If we're not on the same page, we're not on the same page. If they've moved on, if they're in another relationship, okay. But I'm not going to sit here staying in my ego and maybe letting things that I would like to have in my life slip away because I'm unwilling to get out of my ego. So high vibe people get out of their ego. They illuminate the truth. They deal with the truth. They work through their own fears and insecurities in the friendships and relationships that they're in to keep focused on the bigger picture and dealing with their own issues so they can keep working together with the people in their life that are working together with them in a loving way. And shadowy people could be trying to create the illusion that they're much more high vibe than they are. Wanting to get in a relationship, but then they're always afraid because they're kind of creating an illusion about the truth of who they are. They're always afraid that the people in their life are going to kind of keep either love themselves or heal and believe in themselves, grow and mature themselves, and that those people will kind of be ready to go to the next stage of life. And these people were faking the level of life they were on to begin with. You know, you're either authentically who you say you are. That's high vibe Leo energy. I am not trying to manipulate you. I am not trying to emotionally confuse you about the truth of who I am. I have all these fears and I have all these insecurities. I'm codependent. I'm in my ego. I want to be in this relationship because it works for me. It's good for me. It's good for my ego and my image. But I really don't want to do love. I hope you don't ever figure out I don't really want to do love. And the other people are like, you know what? I'm going to temper my ego. I'm going to be authentically myself. I'm going to be willing to admit that I'm a fallible human being who has fears and insecurities just like everybody else. And I'm going to go see if some people in my life are on the same page as me or if they're not. This is how I want to move forward. Do you want to come with me? And if not, and you kind of want to live your life more from your worldly egoic nature or defensive nature and your fear and your insecurity and your codependency or having people codependent on you like you're God in someone's life, okay, I'm leaving because you're not God in my life. You know, shadowy energy and shadowy people can try to manipulate and control us, keep us in our fear and our insecurity, our codependent nature, like we're supposed to look to them as like God in our life. Keep us in codependent energy. Oh, you should keep staying with me. Aren't you afraid of listening to your intuition and loving and believing in yourself? You should let me manipulate you and control you. Even if that's just a friend or a family member that you can't even be in a romantic relationship with. There's people that are like that too. No. You know, if I think it looks like you're going to manifest your dreams into reality, I'm going to come into your life trying to make you think you should listen to me. Oh, you shouldn't trust those people. They might hurt you. I don't think, you know, that they have your best interest like I have your best interest. Some people are being manipulated by people in their life, people trying to get in their life for their own prideful reasons. I don't want you to have your dreams come into reality. You should listen to me. You should look to me. Let those other people go that aren't trying to manipulate you, that are encouraging you to listen to your intuition, to have hope and faith and belief in your dreams. No. You shouldn't hang out with those people. So what do we have next? We have fear and we have loss. And the reason is because a consciousness of lack. So there's people in the world that do have fear of listening to their intuition, being bold and brave and authentically themselves in the world, pursuing the things and the jobs and the relationships and the friendships with people that they'd maybe really like to be working with. But maybe in order to live their life like that, they would have to reveal some truth that maybe in the dark thoughts they were keeping hidden in the dark. Maybe I had an opportunity to move people forward with some people before, but I got caught up in my head. Basically, some people would have to admit that they're fallible human beings like the rest of the world. Some people are very prideful and egotistical. they think they're like people view them. And sure, we can look at people that we would never think would do something. We all got our issues, right? With the planning and action kind of being the Eight of Wands, we can have different areas of our life that we had to learn some lessons in, that we could have been kind of immature in. And so in a lot of ways, with the Leo energy, in a lot of ways, we could look really victorious and successful in a lot of ways. But are we kind of immature in our thinking, logic, and reasoning? In some ways, in some types of situations, did we not act in a way that people would have expected? Because, the thing is, we got lessons to learn in life. We can all do the Eight of Wands being shadowy Sagittarius energy. We can all, high vibe Sagittarius is wrapping your brain around this game of life and kind of working through your fears and insecurities so that you don't take more impulsive, reckless action, maybe out of pride and ego, fear, insecurity, self-limiting beliefs, lack of hope and faith and belief in yourself. And we can take action that's not conducive to a relationship moving forward. Are we willing to get out of our ego about it? I've made mistakes. Are we willing to deal with it once we've maybe seen the truth of how our own fears and insecurities could have stopped us from aligning with some people in our life who were trying to be loving, encouraging, and supportive people in our life? Are we willing, and the thing could be that sometimes, even people who can be loving and nurturing to other people haven't learned to love themselves. And we can repeat an old pattern out of fear and insecurity. I'm not used to being in relationships with people who treat me like I treat people. I'm kind of used to being in relationships with people who act in these kind of shadowy ways. And it's outside my comfort zone. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I know how to work with these people. These are the kind of people I grew up with. Same way, people sometimes who have grown up with people who have addictions, and they're like, I am never going to be in a relationship with someone like that. And then they get in relationships with people like that. And part of it is, again, it's in their comfort zone and they know what to anticipate and how to deal with it. And being in a relationship with someone who doesn't act like that is different. And it also challenges us to maybe heal some issues within ourselves, that if we were to repeat an old pattern with certain types of people, it doesn't challenge us to have to deal with our own maybe feelings of unworthiness. So I'll stay in a relationship trying to be a guiding light to others, because it doesn't challenge me to deal with my own issues because I'm so busy trying to help them with theirs. So it's kind of like loving people can get in a kind of shadowy relationship, but it's not challenging them to grow and heal and mature themselves to their full potential. They're trying to get other people to grow and heal to their full potential. But some of those people that we're in relationships with have no interest in changing. So someone who's immature or bossy or has their issues that they deal with, they kind of did get the best of both worlds. They get to be in shadowy energy and they have a loving, encouraging person in their life. Bingo! This is the lottery win. And the loving people are in a relationship with someone who they offer a lot of love and encouragement, but because of that person's own issues within themselves, it's never, their dream is never going to come into reality. And it's kind of an injustice. You know, it's one thing to offer people love and encouragement and treat people with respect, but we were here to kind of manifest our divine inheritance and grow to our full potential. And we can offer love and encouragement to people who have some issues that manipulate them, that don't manipulate us. And if we stay in more involved relationships with them, like dating them or marrying them, then it kind of imprisons us also, because it imprisons them. So it's kind of like the devil got two people imprisoned. Even though the one person really is free from those things. Perfect. I'm going to use the love that you have for this person to keep you in prison too. Cool. God, I got two people not to give birth to anything new because I use the love, the very love you made them have for people. I made them stay with this person because they love them. You know, and our love isn't supposed to be manipulated. And we have lessons learned about that. A just and fair relationship is where everybody is doing this work within themselves to free themselves from the issues that manipulate them so that we can have these new beginnings together. Letting go, peace, present power, conflict, friends and colleagues. You know, so that we can release emotionally some of these issues from our past so they're not blocking us from moving forward. And to get to a place of peace and balance within ourselves. And we both, all the people in our life, we all emotionally have to take responsibility for us doing that ourselves, because otherwise we're kind of in codependent energy. I want to be fearful, afraid, in my lack mentality. I'm in shadowy energy, and I want you to give to me. And I want to take from you. I'm never going to do this work within myself to ever maybe have a new beginning. I look to you to give me those things. But the whole thing is, we are meant to take over that role within ourselves, to learn how to love and nurture ourselves and maintain balance within ourselves, to be inspired, to stand in our truth, to take responsibility for our own life. I kind of view this card as as Aries Leo energy. I do have my worldly nature, which is what Aries energy is about, the self. But I have to take responsibility to get myself out of my own immature, prideful, not learning to love myself, blah, blah, blah nature, And I need to take responsibility for that in myself, because otherwise I can end up becoming kind of bossy and controlling and manipulative in a relationship because I'm so codependent on someone else to provide that for me, because I haven't taken responsibility for it within myself. And then that can cause conflict and problems in our relationships. Let's see. Oh, maybe this card wasn't supposed to go there. Let's sit right here. So again, the conflict card is kind of like the Five of Wands, and the fives in tarot can talk about change. We get into relationships. That would kind of be like the Four of Wands. And some people are inspired to work together cooperatively from love. And some of the other people we could be in a relationship are like, I just need a place to rest. I need a place to heal. And then, though, that's how they can view relationships. I'm just here to rest and heal. Well, more rest. I just want a place to rest. I like being in a relationship. When I'm not in a relationship, I could have all these negative thoughts, but instead of doing this work within myself to work through those issues and get more balanced within myself and be more confident within myself, like kind of shedding an old layer of myself and a more immature way of myself to give birth to like a new me where I've grown and matured myself in some way, that I have changed, then I could go get in relationships with people because kind of like, the angels of the four directions kind of reminds me of Judgment Day. I kind of was willing to hold myself accountable for kind of how my own fears or insecurities and things kind of manipulated me in a relationship and within myself. And it could have made me sabotage myself. Could have made me sabotage relationships. With the consciousness of lack, kind of like being a Five of Pentacles card, what we think is true and how we view the world and how we view ourselves is so important, because that is our truth. And Gemini energy is about what is my truth. And we will prove ourselves true. If we think, oh no, nothing ever works out for me, no, people will leave me. Some people could be in loving relationships, supportive, encouraging relationships, bold, brave, confident people, inspired by love, want to move forward with them and manifest relationships. And they're like, oh my God, it challenges their whole belief system. And they've built a whole life and mental construct of how they view the world based on this truth that, well, no, people leave me. No, people reject me. No, people abandon me. And if I were to do that, I kind of have to see the truth of maybe the stuff that I've done in my life and how I viewed life and how I've pushed people away and how, you can see how it could, it's wild. So the Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy, we all have our philosophy of life and this way that we view the world, the way we view ourselves, the way we view others in the world. And it is super hard to change someone's philosophy of life. And hopefully, we can all be very hopeful and believing and have these lessons to learn in life, be very naive, very gullible. Oh, look, here's someone who has all these fears or insecurities or defensiveness. I'll just get in a relationship with them. Of course people would choose love. I choose love. I have hope and faith and belief. And then we get in relationships with them and they have their way of thinking. It's like, oh no, don't want to do love. Oh my God, I get hurt. Oh my God, I'd have to deal with I'd have to detach from my more thinking I'd be happy in my egoic defensive nature to love. And I'd have to work through all of that to kind of align with this whole new way of viewing life. And, it's all the little things, because again, people went through life, these life events happened in their life, and some people went through, it kind of remind me of that game where they drop the circle and it goes down, and where does it end up? Some people go through that and they still end up over here. No, I have hope and faith and belief and love. Yes, I've dealt with people who are bossy, who are controlling, who are unkind, who are fearful, who were stubborn, who were all about themselves, materialistic, had addictions, whatever. And those people didn't give up on their dreams. They had to do this work within themselves. That's planning and action, high vibe Sagittarius. I need to wrap my brain around this game of life. I could have felt rejected. I could have felt like, why don't people treat me the way I treat them? And it's just to see the truth that everybody's got free will, and some people have freed themselves from more things than other people. The people that have freed themselves from more things are more loving and giving and nurturing and just and fair in relationships, and the people who haven't freed themselves from some of those things could still be petty and envious and jealous and hurtful and unkind and abusive and defensive and egotistical and more about themselves. Because at the core, in our worldly, more egoic nature, we're kind of like this immature child that has all these lessons to learn in life, and some people haven't learned very many lessons, and they've learned how to present themselves in the world to look like they've grown and matured and healed themselves, but for some it's just an illusion. It's just a way of presenting themselves in the world, and try to get in relationships with people who are the real deal. And then sometimes that can kick up their shadowy energy because, again, some people, instead of kind of growing and healing and maturing themselves, could have put a lot of work and effort into looking like a shining star in the world. Having a lot of status and image or attractiveness or power or influence or something so that people view them a certain way. But they could have still these more jealous and envious ways with other people. And instead of trying to figure out, well, why, shadowy Leos being in our competitive nature, if we loved and appreciated what we brought to the table, just like we don't want people being petty and envious and jealous and hurtful towards us because of things in our life, why would we want to be in that energy towards other people? And it's not fertile soil to grow your life out of, And some people realize that, and they did this work within themselves, that when things trigger them to not feel good enough, to kind of maybe be in some of their jealous or envy, or I'm not good enough, well, why don't we do what we can do within ourselves, working with what we have, We're not going to be, everybody's different. And it's kind of to learn to appreciate what we bring to the table. I might not have this trait and characteristic, but, at the core foundation, do I treat people the way I like to be treated? Do I treat people with respect? Do I offer people encouragement? That is like the best human being. It really, what you look like, how much money you got, how attractive you are, blah, blah. There's some people that is the most important thing. And they could be hanging out with people that are totally backstabbers and awful, but they wear the right clothes or they're in the right clique or whatever, and that's who they want to be with. But then who wants to be in a relationship with some people that are very superficial and shallow, and prideful and egotistical? Some people do. Some people are still fighting to get those people to like them because they want to be part of that group because that's the truth of who they are. And other people are like, oh my God, why would I want to hang out with people like that? You know? And if there's people who are unkind, unjust, hurtful, unkind, good riddance. You know? Damn. When I didn't realize that about you, I could have missed some opportunities with some other people because maybe you did wear a good false mask. And I thought my dreams were going to come into reality with you. And then when I saw the truth, it was kind of illuminated when I was trying to offer love and justice and fairness to move a relationship forward. That's when I could have realized that, you know, your shadowy nature came out and you did try. Because in a high vibe relationship, you offer truth and love and encouragement and want everybody to grow to their full potential. And then we realize we're in relationships with people who don't want us to love and believe in ourselves. And if we keep doing this work within ourselves to maintain balance within ourselves and free ourselves from the things that manipulate us, that's when their shadowy nature can come out. Because if they're not willing to do that work with us, to move forward with us in that energy, then they know we're probably going to hang out with other people because we're just not looking at life the same way anymore. Where at one time we could have, you know, and that's sometimes when they can do some shadowy things that are hurtful and unkind, throwing you under the bus, kicking you to the curb. And it could be hoping that you'll give up believing in yourself and you'll basically come back and do the relationship the way they want. And it's like, perfect, yay! I don't have to grow and heal and mature myself, and I can keep acting in my defensive ways, prideful ways, bossy ways, immature ways, whatever, self-centered ways, materialistic, ego-driven ways, and you're going to stay in a relationship with me. Yay! And it's a form of trying to manipulate you. I don't believe that you will love and believe in yourself. You know, I'd maybe be willing to stay in a relationship with you. You just have to do it the way I want. Because I'm not willing to do it the way you want. And even though some high vibe people did have fear about detaching, because it's human behavior. We get in a job, we get in a friendship, we get in a romantic relationship. We'd really like that relationship to work. And we could put a lot of work and effort into trying to make it work. But the high vibe people harness high vibe Gemini energy about dealing with the truth and high vibe Leo energy. I don't like people to try to manipulate and control me. That's not love. Loving people are supposed to be open with me and truthful with me and warm and encouraging and supportive. And these people are not doing that. And if I keep staying in this, I'm not going to have my dreams come into reality. Because in my more worldly, egoic nature, I'm kind of in my codependent energy. And by worldly standards, it might kind of look like I got it going on in the world. But eventually, the people who listen to their intuition, it's like, I can't keep staying here. I feel left out in the cold. I feel like I could be being manipulated. Someone could be trying to intimidate me and control me, trying to instill fear in me to not love and believe in myself. And instead of letting go of my dreams, I'm going to let go of something I could have been in that by worldly standards looked like I had it going on. Like, because I'm kind of viewing the peace card again as like the scales of justice card. By worldly standards, it might look like I could have everything I could want. But either my own worldly, egoic, self-centered, fearful, shadowy nature or other people in my life are trying to stop me from moving forward and changing and growing and healing myself. Like, if they live their life a certain way, they want me to live life that way where, I'm not going with the flow of life. I'm not growing and healing and maturing myself over time. And they might like to live their life that way, even though they have conflict about it. They just keep staying in their ego about it, that I'm going to keep living my life this way. And if we find ourselves in those mismatched relationships, it can end up that both people have inner conflict about staying in the relationship, because initially there could have been a lot of commonality in the relationship. For whatever reasons, whatever stage of life and our growth and our maturity and everything that we were in, we could have had a lot of commonalities in a lot of ways. Could even been our fears and insecurities because other relationships hadn't worked out, and maybe there was certain things we wanted to give birth to. Maybe, we wanted to get married or have children, and somebody who really seemed to be more on the same page wasn't in our life. Things like that human beings have to deal with. And initially it could have seemed like it was all great, but then it can kind of get to where, at a core foundational level of what drives and motivates us, and if one person is a little bit more like, well, I want to live in a big town, you want to live in a small town. I want to really put in all this work, in a certain career field, and, we could just have all these different conflicts. And the whole thing is, everybody wants to live what is aligned with their truth. And some people are just more worldly focused, ego focused, conforming to the world. Other people aren't about conforming to the world and aren't so much about ego and image. And, regardless, we like to hang out with people who kind of view life the same way we do. And eventually everybody could really want to leave if they're mismatched, because in order for the relationship to go to the next level, that core foundational difference is kind of, conflict about how we like to work together with people emotionally. And some people do want to work together with people from an emotional foundation and a deep, meaningful relationship. Some people like to be in relationships and, enjoy being in relationships, but they could like to not be in, align with their more emotionally intuitive nature and be in more deeply emotional relationships. Kind of like, I'm okay with just kind of indulging in the relationship. So long as it looks good by worldly standards, I'm good. We are emotionally complex human beings, and it can be confusing. And some people are like, I just don't want to. Some people can feel like they're a baby emotionally, just depending on how much people have operated from their kind of more defensive egoic nature, male or female. I'm sure we've known both types, male and female, where, they just don't seem very warm or a little blunt or harsh or defensive or something, or they can seem like smile in your face till the cows come home, but it's just kind of fake and superficial and shallow. And whichever way they are, for them to work together with people like in a way that they haven't put or allowed themselves to kind of connect with people in that way, some people could really have a lot of inner conflict. That would be like, I'm a baby emotionally and you're like a mature adult, So, I think there's some shadowy people right now that are either in new beginnings or want to get in new beginnings. more out of fear, codependency, or ego, or for, yeah, pride and ego, materialistic reasons or something. They could be realizing, if they did have some loving people in their life previously, that those loving people have moved on. For a long time, they could have thought, no, I'm sure they'll come back. No, I'm sure they'll do it the way I want. And the loving people have moved on, and they've either gotten in new relationships or they're looking to get in new relationships. They are holding themselves and other people accountable for their actions. And if they had some shadowy people in their life that didn't want to illuminate the truth and aren't taking action in truth and love, we can only work with people who are willing to work with us, and the high vibe people only want to work with people who are being truthful and honest and authentic and have done this inner work within themselves. And it's like, I'm not going to go back and repeat an old pattern. I have been there. I have done that. I've been in relationships with people who act that way. And I could feel like I know I gave everything I could to try to move that relationship forward. And you kept saying, like, no. And maybe trying to control me or control the situation. Not wanting to give birth to anything new. And I do want to give birth to something new. You might like staying in your comfort zone and repeating the old pattern over and over with the next person you get in a relationship and the next person after that. And it's the same thing over and over, different people, different faces, but you never give birth to anything new. And it might just be for you just to be in a relationship, just for the ego or the image of it. You're okay. It's like, well, if that's what drives and motivates you, then I'm not the right person for you. So let's see what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy that they might not see coming up. Judgment, King of Wands. Why? Because of the Two of Pentacles. It's a process. So for the people that are just kind of going through this, and the shadowy nature doesn't have to be other people. It can be within ourself, kind of being more about ourself. I'm not going to do love. I'm just going to go indulge myself in the world. Something. Regardless of if it's you or other people, because it starts within us. When we call judgment on our more about ourself nature, and we get more balance within ourselves, and we free ourselves from some of our fears and insecurities, that we're willing to move forward in a more balanced way, in a more, it's not just about me. If I'm going to work with other people, it can't just be just about me. If I used to think it was that way, I need to change my philosophy of life, because why should it be more about me and not more about them? But sometimes that's people's philosophy of life, is like, well, no, it should be more about me. Again, people who could be full of themselves or in their pride and ego, or that's just how they view life. That is their philosophy of life. People can view life any fucking way they want. So, you're calling judgment on people who you do think are kind of more about themselves, who maybe juggle. Don't really want to pick a path. We have this dualistic nature. We have free will. We can choose to live our life in high vibe energy. We can choose to live our life in a more worldly, self-focused way. Or we can not make a choice and we just want to keep juggling. Kind of like, oh, I want to get in a relationship with you. Yeah, I'm going to bring that dream into reality with you. I'm that kind of person too. But then they're kind of hiding in the dark thoughts that they really have these fears and insecurities about really bringing the dream into reality. And then they kind of get caught up in those issues and they still haven't picked a path. And the other people are like, if you haven't picked a path, that's okay, because I have. And in high vibe, the Two of Pentacles, harnessing these energies in a high vibe way, you've been inspired to call judgment on yourself and other people. The only person I can control is me. And if I do have some people who I think can't decide what they want to do, okay. In my Two of Pentacles, I'm going to pick up my investment within you. And I'm going to maintain balance within myself and be inspired to invest in some new people in my life. The high vibe people are harnessing high vibe Aries, high vibe Capricorn. Some of the other people in their life could harness a more worldly or shadowy Aries, Capricorn energy, which can be they want to be about themselves or the world, or don't want to have to pick a path, want to juggle people. It's like, that's fine. You're just going to have to go juggle someone else, because it's like I'm not an option. I have done the work to free myself from the things that manipulate me, and I am inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and character and integrity. And if that's not you, then that's not you. And I'm going to take action in the world to get out of my ego about it, to love and believe in myself, and work with the people in my life and the people I meet who do want to work together with me in a more just and fair and balanced way. And then I think as you go about that, I think, with the Judgment card, it kind of implies no matter what choice we make in life, there's consequences to our actions. Like every action has a reaction kind of thing. And I think for the high vibe people, Judgment will go in your favor because you are inspired to work through your own issues, to no longer be tipped out of balance, because that's what kind of more worldly shadowy energy can be. I'm not going to indulge poor behavior in myself or in others. And a poor behavior can be overindulging other people in their shadowy nature. Like, I'll be the loving person and you be the fearful or the codependent person. I'll give, and you take. It's like, no, that's me equally being out of balance. And I'm going to no longer indulge people in their poor behavior or whatever it is. I need to be in relationships with people who've learned some of the same lessons I have, so that we're on the same page, that there's equal give and take. Other people inspired by equal give and take, and other people who have done this work within themselves to get balance within themselves and inspired by truth and love. And I think Judgment will go in your favor. As you're doing that, other people are going to see that you're doing that. They know they could be in relationships with people who are more about the ego or the image, or fearful, insecure, codependent, trying to manipulate them for their own purposes. And there's other people in the world just like you that don't want to be in relationships with people who are like that. And they want to have these new beginnings with other people that have detached in that way of looking at life, who've changed the foundation that they emotionally operate from. We've all operated kind of being motivated and inspired by our more worldly nature, and people have grown and matured themselves to realize the truth. Healing light. It's about offering myself love and compassion and forgiveness to grow and mature myself, so I'm not taking action out of pride and ego and fear and insecurity. And that's what helps me maintain my balance. And I think other people are going to see the truth of that. They don't seem to be taking action out of pride and ego and fear and insecurity and lust and greed and immaturity or ego. And there's other people that are going to want to be in a relationship with you because of that. What's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy? Justice, 3 of Pentacles, Strength card, Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, because of the 5 of Pentacles. So the 5 of Pentacles is kind of like this consciousness of lack card here. Some of the people that were kind of shadowy in a relationship, and they thought it was just and fair. We all view life the way we view it. We act the way we act because that's how we view life. And they could have been kind of emotionally manipulative, prideful, egotistical, stubborn, prideful, defensive. And eventually some of the high vibe people see the truth of it. It's like, well, no, shadowy energy at the big picture is represented by the devil. We all have our shadowy nature. And the high vibe people in their Gemini energy of the Knight of Swords saw the truth. You try to tempt me with these things of the world to stay in a relationship with you. You do maybe have these ways of acting that you don't want You justify it. That could be how you view the perfect relationship or the dream relationship. It's not how I view the dream relationship. That might be how you want to move forward in a relationship. That's not how I want to move forward in a relationship. You might be all in on your worldly nature of pride and ego and image and status, and you should stay in a relationship with me because we look like we've got it going on in the world. We look like we have everything the world says we should want. And the high vibe people are like, what about love? And they're like, well, in my Gemini energy, I didn't invest in that. I invested in my more worldly nature. It's like, well, you got free will. Go live your life like that. I'm leaving. I'm going to go have a new beginning. I have done this work within myself to get balance, to temper myself, to see the truth, and I'm no longer in denial of the truth. And I'm going to go have a new beginning and fight for what I believe in, and you can keep going back and living your life like this with someone else. Because I felt left out and cold living my life like that. You might find it wonderful, but I don't. And some of the shadowy people never thought the people in their life would get out of being caught up in the illusion of the world or the illusion about this person, or would quit letting them manipulate their loving nature, and that they would stand up for themselves. They did not see that coming. And that's what some of you already did, and that's what some people are doing right now in a relationship. Some of you have already moved on and you're having this new beginning. You had to do this work within yourself, and we can detach from one foundation. That's also kind of what the Five of Pentacles can talk about. A foundation that I had wanted to hold on to and that I got involved in, whether it's a job or a friendship. But eventually, we come in contact with all these different people to help us get clear about, is this my truth or isn't this my truth? And initially it could have seemed like that was your truth. But then as time goes by, people change. Who knows when people are going to drive their life off into the ditch and kind of get caught up in their fear or their insecurity or their bossy nature or their whatever, People get spoiled in a relationship too and start to become entitled, like, wow, I think the reason that person treats me that way is because of me. And they get kind of a big head about it. And then they think, I think I can go take this show on the road and I should go get in a relationship with someone else. And then they could find out that, oh, it was the other person who had the spark of life to my life, and it wasn't me who brought that. And then they kind of have this rude awakening. Another thing they might not see coming is there is going to be other people who want to move forward with these people in life. If it's another loving person, this whole scenario pattern is going to repeat itself. But they could have someone who could communicate with them that I'm willing to move forward with you in a relationship. Some of those people are on the same page as them. They also could add some people that wanted them to heal and grow and mature, and they're like, no way, I'm going to go get in a relationship with this person. Or they just haven't got some lessons to learn and haven't learned to love and believe in themselves. And they're going to learn some lessons from this person. If they're both people that are defensive to the truth, and their truth is, we stay right here. Do not step out of your comfort zone. No, 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 no. We have to make our life about the world. We have to make our life to look like we're victorious and successful. If we do love, we could get hurt. Okay. Well, I found someone I can be in a relationship with that's willing to move forward with me. We both have our fears and insecurities about willing to invest time, energy, and effort to deal with our defensiveness. So let's just keep moving forward with whoever we can find that's in our life, that lives their life like that too, and we'll keep moving forward with those people, being defensive to the people who went and lived life differently. And everybody's going to have these new beginnings. I would say God's trying to get people sorted, to get the right people in the right relationships. Because it's an injustice, again, for someone who's has some lessons learned in life, to try to control or manipulate someone who's learn more lessons in life than them, to get them to keep indulging them in a relationship when they don't do this work within themselves to learn those lessons, to be on the same page as them. It's like an injustice. And the people who get in those mismatched relationships, or they become mismatched over time, the high vibe people listen to their intuition. I would kind of be indulging someone who's operating more from their ego nature than their more hopeful, believing nature. And I want to go get in the relationships with people who are on more same page as me. And those people can go get in the relationships with someone who's more on the same page as them. Some of these people just have a lot of fear and insecurity of trusting anyone. And they get in relationships with people and kind of shadowy, what's that card say? Present power. Kind of like Aries, shadowy Aries Leo energy, which anyone can harness regardless of their sun sign. You know, they just don't really want to commit, or they try to control people, manipulate people. And they should be in a relationship with someone who's like themselves, and they might have someone who is like that with them. You know, what goes around comes around. They could have someone who comes in their life saying, I'm willing to move forward with you in a new relationship. And this person's like, great, that'll look good for my ego and my image and my status. And maybe we both have these fears and these insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, but we didn't move forward with the loving, encouraging people. So let's go have this new beginning. This is just and fair. And we still have our inner conflict about working together with people in a relationship. And we both could try to manipulate people because we both could kind of be emotionally immature and defensive. And maybe together they'll be able to hash it out. Maybe they also might see the truth of, it's kind of funny. When I kind of wonder, I haven't been around to see it, but, some people, say someone who maybe they were married before, male or female, and kind of they went out and they partied and all this, and you can only imagine maybe how their partner, the things that could have come out of their partner's mouth to them sometimes, like about them going out and partying all the time. And then life goes on. Maybe that relationship ends. The person ends up getting married to someone else. But the person they end up marrying is kind of much more of a partier now than they are. And they might be more settled down or whatever. And you just wonder when some of the things come out of their mouth that they're saying to their present partner that they know their past partner said to them. That's kind of got to be eye-opening, right? Like, wow, now, it's kind of like the shoes on the other foot. And that could be the thing that kind of makes people like, oh my God, I've now invested in someone who is kind of behaving like I did or kind of like I do. And now I know what it's like. But for some people, because it looks good by ego and image and things, they might still be willing to keep investing in it, even though they might feel defensive in the relationship, even though they're trying to have to chase people down or whatever. It does maybe help them see things from the other perspective. So anyway, people are going to move forward based on what their truth is, based on what drives and motivates them. Now, some of the shadowy people, because they kind of operate a lot from pride and ego, and it's all about trying to create this illusion. Look, I've moved on. Look, I've healed. Look, I'm not the same person I was before. But really, they are. And they're just trying to create this illusion that they've grown and healed and matured themselves. Those people could think that the high vibe people are creating an illusion. You're just creating a better illusion than they are. And what they don't get, but what they will come to see the truth of, I think, with kind of these cards of kind of illumination, is that you really are who you say you are. And I think other people will see that, because I think some of these shadowy people who might try to present themselves as these pillars of society are going to have more people who see the truth of them. They had like loving, nurturing people to be in relationships with, but they keep juggling people because they could be more about themselves. And if those people don't indulge me enough in my ego, or if those people want me to grow up or mature myself, well, then I'm out of here. And I think other people will see the truth. When other people aren't acting in more immature, player, prideful, competitive ways, it kind of illuminates the people who might be doing that a little bit more for those reasons. Maybe even just trying to make other people feel left out in the cold, and some people they get in a relationship with. It's like, is that why you're in a relationship with me? Because you wanted someone else to have mental conflict and feel left out in the cold? You're using me to manipulate them? Well, that's not why I want to be in a relationship. And kind of with the new beginnings, some people who could have been thinking they were going to move forward with someone kind of ends up being illuminated to the truth of why people were doing what they were doing. And it's like, I think some of these people are just trying to cause inner conflict for someone they're trying to manipulate. Like, look at me, I got in a new relationship. Don't you feel afraid that I'm moving on with someone else? Doesn't it get you in your competitive energy? And the high vibe people are like, yeah, I probably don't doubt that that's why you're doing what you're doing. But that just means you're kind of a immature, selfish person getting in relationships with other people because you're trying to manipulate someone else, and that's not someone I want to be in a relationship with. And so then some of these people, what they didn't see coming is they might have to go back and stay in a relationship with someone they use just as a pawn because the loving people in their life moved on. It's like, but I didn't really want to move forward with these people. I don't really like these people for some reason. It's like, well, when you were in a relationship with someone who is just and fair and authentic and loving, you try to manipulate and control them. They have the free will choice not to just stay in a relationship with someone just because to be in a relationship. They could make the decision to get out of it. But again, some people won't. Well, I might have used someone, tried to create this illusion that it was this wonderful, victorious relationship. And now, because I'm in my ego about it, and I don't know if I let it go, if I would find another relationship, I might just keep moving forward in this relationship, even though I have a lot of inner conflict about working with this person, because this person could have these shadowy ways of being. Well, if they're not willing to illuminate the truth and take action in truth and hold themselves accountable, and, where there could be, you feel like people judge you, well, then live a life of ego and stay in relationships you don't want to be in. So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.